Great. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panelists, and our dearest CAMCA fellows, this panel is for innovators and dreamers. So welcome to our transformative education, innovating for a shared future. My name is Jenny. I'm a national coordinator of the CAMCA Kyrgyzstan. So I do a lot of innovation work for development works in the multilateral organizations. But in my personal and professional experience, education has always been the key to development progress and shaping the people's future. However, in this rapidly changing world, we see like our technology takes a domain and artificial intelligence is surpassing the human intelligence. And the challenge we face become much more complex and unpredictable. So we find ourselves at this crossroad. Traditional models of education has been questioned. It is up to us to embrace innovation and reimagine what education could be. In today's panel, we bring together extraordinary our experts who are policymakers, visionaries, entrepreneurs, and the change makers. So I'm going to introduce you personally closely later. First and foremost, our honorable panelist, the Minister of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Sayasat Nurbek. Salimespe, Sayasat. Thank you so much. So we are very much delighted to commemorate that it has been exactly 1 year, Sayasat, since you were appointed as a minister in last year, June. On behalf of the CAMCA network, we would like to congratulate you on the significant achievement and recognizing this is tremendously challenging and very highly responsible work. So Sayasat, I know your time is very short. So allow me to just give you a couple of questions. Then I'm going to direct it to our audience for Q&A. Ladies and gentlemen, we only have 20 minutes with our minister. So I very much look forward to your active participation. Afterward, I'm going to invite other panelists, introduce them and invite them to the stage. Sayasat, back to you. First, few... Yeah. Absolutely, please. Uh-huh. Thank you, Sayasat. That's incredible. Like within just a year, there have been so many initiatives. I believe those are not all. So you just prioritize this kind of key reforms. Just allow me for a couple of follow-up questions. You mentioned about this, one of your reform, you want to attract the international universities to Kazakhstan to open the branch. I understand you want to boost your students' global competitiveness without necessarily leaving the country or staying abroad. But now my question comes, how would your national public funding university would compete with those international branches? And you mentioned there's there should be the national brand of education. So between this international competitiveness and your national brand of Kazakh education, how would you really come to keep this balance? Yes. And just a follow-up, sorry, Sayasat. And since we also have educators from this CAMCA country, will other universities from CAMCA country have such opportunities to collaborate and open the branch in Kazakhstan? Could you please share your vision towards that? Absolutely. Absolutely, thank you. And just for your information, very briefly, on the CAMCA network, we initiated this CAMCA Academia, which is just newly formed. Later, ladies and gentlemen, Murod will definitely tell more about that. But for the minister, the idea is we want to, through the CAMCA network, to invite all those universities, private schools, and educational centers all come along together because we shared one vision. I think this is definitely something very interesting. We're gonna follow up with you maybe later. But without further ado, just allow me to give the very last question, maybe very briefly. We talk a lot about the future of work because we are talking about this kind of future of education. With the rapid technological advancement, how do you see what kind of skills right now is highly demanded in the future? And the role of your formal educational institute in Kazakhstan, how they can equip your students to be ready for the future? Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Sayasat. I personally have so many kind of takeaway for myself. I definitely believe for the audience right now, they also have questions, but I want to be respect to your time. Do you have a time at least for one question from the audience? Okay. Very brief. So I already see the lady like raise her hands. Yes, Mariyash.
Hi. Hello, Sayasat. My name is Mariyash. I'm a founder of APEC Training Center in Atyrau. So we met with you a couple of years ago before you became a Minister of Education. So my congratulations to you. It's been a very busy year, a very exciting year. I'm following you on social media and I see how much been done, how many initiatives been launched in this year. My question, it's not really a question, it's more a plea, because initially when we founded our training center, we were talking to Ministry of Education, and since last year it's been split into two different ministries, and we've met with the Ministry of Education, where the colleges and vocational education is falling under. And we see how much you're doing for universities, and we see how much is done for schools as well. But the colleges, particularly technical colleges, for me, it seems like they're left ashore while, cruise ship with schools and universities are sailing off into this blue ocean. So we've met with Gani Bisimbiyev, we've met with his team working with colleges. We presented our project, which is now not just on paper, it is a project which is generating
I'm really
results.
sorry. We want to be very short and direct questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
One minute. So it's not a question again, it's a plea and a request to involve them into this development of global competitiveness of our young generation.
So don't leave technical institutes behind.
Yes, thank you, Maria. Let me quickly comment on that. The Ministry of Enlightenment, they're very quick. I like that much better now. They are in charge of vocational training. And indeed, if you look at the demand of the national economy, it's actually focused on blue collars rather than white collars. The biggest demand right now in any industry, the energy, mining, oil and gas, is actually qualified workers. That means the vocational training institute. And they really is kind of left out. There will be big meeting money from tourism, that we should be somehow linked to the education. Because right now there's this notion of tertiary education, graduate. They have to be combined, they have to work really closely, and tightly together. And we will tackle that issue this summer.
Great. May we please ask to be involved in this discussion as well, where we can show the actual results.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for the interest, and thank you for your valuable time, Sayasat, for sharing all those kind of insights. That's been really brilliant. So thank you so much. Let's stay in touch with CAMCA Network.
Thank you. And I'm really looking forward so I'm looking forward to and please do send us your insights and information. We're very open to try to look into different opinions, and there's a useful and valuable information, value-added information. Jump on.
Great. Thank you so much, Max. Music. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Minister. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had a really good kind of opening remark already with our minister. I would love to continue our dialogue. Let me introduce and invite our rest of the panelists. Tatiana Magambetova, the co-founder of High Tech Academy in Kazakhstan. High Tech Academy is an innovative school that prepares students for the complexity of the world through project-based learning. Tatiana, with her team, is dedicated to building a model for 21st century education in Kazakhstan. Look forward to her insights. Tatiana, take your seats.
Thank you.
Please, let's meet Dr. Fariz Ismailzade, Executive Vice-rector of ADA University in Azerbaijan. He is a published author and a holder of degrees of Social, Economic Development, Political Science from Washington University of St. Louis, as well as PhD from the New Zealand. Dr. Ismailzade brings his extensive experience in civil society and the research work to his role. Thank you, Fariz. Introducing Mariyash, the founder of APEC Training Center and ambassador of quality education in Kazakhstan. With her diverse educational background and international experience, Mariyash is dedicated to implementing high-quality education to Kyrgyzstan by bringing international competitive certification programs. Last but not the least, our CAMCA fellow from Uzbekistan, Murod Ismailov, associate professor of the University of Tsukuba in Japan. Thanks to Murod's commitment and initiative, we funded this CAMCA Academy. Right before this forum, we organized this CAMCA, the first ever CAMCA Education and Science Technology Conference. Thank you so much. So let's give applause again to the rest of our panelists. Thank you. Okay, I need to move to that side. Okay, I'm really very happy. I learned today there's a new word. It's called, this panel is not manel. It's not a panel full of men. So I'm really great. We have a perfect kind of gender balance. Thank you so much. All right. I believe the last question, we heard so many insights from the minister. We mentioned about what is the future skills most demanded right now in the labor market. Since our panelists come from we have a background, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, also some like international, like from Japan. Could you please just share very briefly, based on your observation, definitely there's a work economic forum and different kind of ranking, but based on your practical experience, what right now are the most needed skills in the labor market and in the future of work? Yeah, starting.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm not going to actually talk about the skills because I think Minister made a very good introduction into that topic. Well, actually, I can say maybe only about the one skill that really matters, and that is something that actually was suppressed for many, many years. And we're talking about the region of CAMCA, and most of our countries were part of the Soviet system. And obviously, the Soviets didn't want our schools to be open spaces. And then we ended up in a situation where most of our systems, in most cases up to now, we are not training our students to ask questions. I think asking questions would be one skill that we have to promote. As an educator, when I enter the classroom, first question I ask my students is, what is 4 plus 4? Well, obviously they're looking at me thinking, you know, is everything okay with him? I say, yeah, just tell me honestly, what is 4 plus 4? And okay, somebody says it's 8. Then I say, let's look at this issue differently. And I rephrase the question. I say, the answer is 8. What is the question? Then you start seeing all the faces and all the reactions. And of course, it goes on. And then somebody says, yeah, I have 8 friends. So I have 8 friends, so 8 is the answer. I think it's important that in our society, we slightly detach ourselves from the answers or the search for answers and actually focus on asking questions, because I think we're all, our system is so obsessed with finding answers. You create test systems that focus on answers. Everybody wants some answer or some solution. But I believe that we first have to start with questions. The smarter they are, the better it's going to be. I'm going to stop. I know you're
Great.
looking at me. I don't want to anger you, so I'm going to pass to my colleagues. Yeah.
Yes, please. The art of asking questions, Mariyash.
Hello. So basically, Sayasat has already given away of what is what is required, yeah, the skills demands in Kazakhstan. But I must add that this is not just a demand in Kazakhstan; it is demand across the world. Yeah. So. Sorry.
You can continue, Mariyash.
Yeah, so basically, I was lucky enough to study and work abroad in US and the UK. And basically, when we were facing some, household problems at home, it was so obvious that actual blue collar skills are missing because rates are huge and it's so difficult to book a plumber, electrician, like a proper craftsman, a tradesman. And I was like, oh my God, this is the blue ocean. This is how we should develop our youth so that they can come and fulfill this gap in the US, in the UK. And I was like going back home after spending 10 years abroad, thinking, I have global competitiveness already in mind, yeah, for our local guys. So they can train properly, they can get skills, they can get certified, and they can travel everywhere, implementing their skills, earning good salaries, observing the cultures and lifestyle around the world and bringing it back to their own home country, their communities. And when I came to Kazakhstan, it became obvious that even in Kazakhstan, the blue-collar market, blue-collar skills are in high demand. So what we are doing now in Kazakhstan, in Atyrau, so I set the training center as a project, yeah, for Ministry of Education to showcase them that this is what is in demand and this is how it should be done, and it can work. And now when I'm getting messages from Spain, from France, from Czech Republic, from Poland, from the guys who have no higher education, but they have professional certificates in pipe fitting, welding, truck driving. They are working there, they're earning good salaries, they're sending pictures with Eiffel Towers of themselves on the beaches in Spain. It's amazing, and it shows the real results. And this is what we're doing. And I actually wanted to invite all the CAMCA members to participate, to partner with us. So because we are just one center, we cannot satisfy the demands for skills of everyone. Yeah. So
thank you,
we need
Mariyash.
to partner.
Thank you. So I understand this is a wide range of these blue skills. Like it is with the technical colleges, yes. So we should not leave those part of the people like behind. Thank you. Fariz, please, from Azerbaijan.
Okay, so about the skills, I think that you will agree with me that majority of our educational systems are based on memorization and memorizing information. We sort of evaluate the smartness of the kids by the amount of information they can memorize. Whereas in today's world, that is absolutely not necessary competence. You don't need to memorize information because information is already available on internet. What is more important is how to use that information to solve your daily problems, to find solutions to complicated situations, to think critically, to act in teams or work in teams, to communicate in cross-cultural environment. These are the skills that are important in 21st century. In 21st century, our education system continues teaching kids memorization, whereas the market and society and employers need different competencies. So this is the main problem with our education system, that we still have not been able to adjust to the demand of the market. What market needs from us are completely different skills, different competencies, different abilities. And as a result of that, we also have a mismatch between the types of specializations that we produce and the types of specializations that are needed in the market. For example, in Azerbaijan at least, we have oversupply of humanities specializations, political scientists, international relations, lawyers, sociologists, etc., etc. but the market needs completely different set of specializations, such as data analysts, for example, social media experts, finance specialists, business analytics, cybersecurity specialists. Almost every day, me at university getting a lot of phone calls from companies looking for these kind of specializations. But unfortunately, universities don't produce them because universities have a very rigid management, very rigid curriculums, very rigid set of specializations that needs to be more rapidly changeable, but unfortunately they don't adjust. So these are the main problems, the mismatch between society and universities.
I so much appreciate such a frank and a very open dialogue, Fariz, you're sharing. Thank you so much. And about the challenging of university, we have a follow-up panel question. We can dive deeper. Yes, Tatiana, please. Tatiana, I just want to mention, maybe I feel like your high-tech academy different from the others. I want to mention like Tatiana co-founded high-tech academy in Kazakhstan together with a very well-known entrepreneur, Erkin Tatishev, who's actually is a representative of the Kusto Group. Kusto Group is also our forum's sponsor. It is an investment powerhouse, present internationally, employed over thousands of people there. So maybe could you please bring this angle, like it's not just academic or kind of educational. You also bring your technological and you also bring your business expertise. Could you please share the future skills that you are preparing right now? And what is it behind this high-tech academy? Thank you.
Yes, you started this panel by saying that we need to reinvent education. And 7 years ago, when Yerkan and I decided to create a completely new school, a radically different school, one of the goals was to reinvent what the school was going to be, reinvent it in terms of goals, in terms of organizational structure, in terms of culture. And actually, the mission of High Tech Academy is to nurture next generations of lifelong learners in solving complex challenges. The world is becoming more complex, and we need our young people to learn how to work together to solve more and more complex challenges. And if you just continue doing the school the way we did it for the last 130 years, the kids are not going to learn those skills. So what we decided to do when we designed High Tech Academy is to use project-based learning approach, where students are not looking for answers to problems that have correct answers at the end of the book, but they're working with local organizations and they solve real-world problems for those organizations. At the end of the project, they're not presenting it to their parents or teachers, but they're presenting it to the founders and leaders of those organizations who are experts in the field. And we believe it's the only way to actually prepare our young people and equip them with the skills, complex problem solving, creative thinking, collaboration, strengths-based collaboration, teaming, all those skills that are so critically important. There is a way to teach them, but it's very, very different from how we are used to doing school. So, you know, we opened 6 years ago, and we now have a long waiting list, and, you know, there's a big interest towards our school. And it has been, it's not been an easy project to implement, but the way we approached it is Yerkan and I, we really thought about how do we design the project implementation strategy? How do we design the organizational structure, the culture? How do we design it so it actually results in this very different environment? So the first thing we decided to do is to have the flattest possible organizational structures. There is no hierarchy. Okay, so there's the senior leadership team and the teachers, and we distribute leadership and we involve them in decision making. How do we design the culture? The culture at High Tech Academy is based on experimentation and collaboration. There is no recipe, rinse and repeat recipe for projects. Every organization is different. Every challenge is different. So teachers become designers of learning experiences and they work closely with the partners. We do teach them methods on how to design workshops, how to help kids find information, do primary research, secondary research, et cetera, but they become designers of learning experiences, which help students learn things while they are trying to solve an urgent and important issue. And the last thing is people. So when we opened the school, we knew there were no teachers who knew how to do this well. We ourselves didn't exactly know how to do this well. So we partnered with Korda Institute for Teaching, and she's been doing professional development for our teachers for the last 6 years, and we are teaching them. Professional development is 3 hours a week, 1 month in August, and 3 times a year, 3-4 days before each quarter. We continuously support our teachers' professional development. We are a learning organization, and I believe it's the only way for us to model what lifelong learning means to our students, and not just say, you know, we should be learning our whole life. They see their teachers as people who are learning every day and learning with them.
Great, thank you, Tatiana. So in your response, I got you, you said mentioned about critical thinking, complex and problem solving and so on. I intentionally actually added this additional question to Tatiana. I just want to know, like, to also share this inside stories, like how you are using this business sustainable approach, you design this learning and you engage this learning center approach. Thank you so much. Murod, you wanted to add?
Yes, just very quickly. I'm actually glad that Tatiana brought it. I was really thinking about it. I think when you talk about future skills, you can't really miss another question, which is, okay, you have so many skills that you need to learn, but who is actually going to do that? And that brings us to the question of
You mean who's going to teach or who's going to learn that?
No, I'm talking about who is going to teach those skills. So I'm actually talking about the last point that Tatiana brought, and I think this is really important because these days we really talk about learner-centered education, which is kind of a nice concept. It's fancy, it's new, and people like it, interactions and all that. But we're also forgetting that behind the scene, we have so many people doing that possible. And in my lab back in Japan, what we do is we're actually researching not learner-centered education, we're talking about human-centered education, in which we have to take account of all the energies, including the leadership, including the policymakers, including the teachers, of course, in the first place. So I think this is something, and just give me a few seconds, okay, because I felt that I spoke less than my other colleagues. The logo that you see behind me actually is a result of that work, of that kind of thinking, because we, as part of this CAMCA network, we've been talking a lot about many, many ideas. Most of them would be pretty much on steroid when we meet here, and then they would be slightly going down and disappear. But we really wanted to make sure that this idea actually lives because there is a need for that. And what we're doing with the CAMCA Academy and the CAMCA Academic Consortium, we want to make sure that education in Central Asia, in Caucasus, in Mongolia, and hopefully in Afghanistan in the future is human-centered. So we're not only focusing on students only, but also we take account of how. Just a very quick point. I know, don't be angry with me. I know we're going to have very serious talk later, but I'm going to be fine. So, yes, education is not only pedagogical, education is not only technological, because I can see that a lot of talk is about AI and things, which is something I will talk later about. It's also biological. We have to think about us as humans, and that's where we're coming, hopefully soon, with some new projects. Thank you.
Finished. Awesome, thank you. I do love your points. Transferring from learner center into the human center, and human embrace much more than just kind of students. I love this. Thank you so much. Don't blame me, Murod. I'm just looking at the organizer, just give a very kind of 1 hour for such a meaningful dialogue. I wish we can dive deeper. We can definitely talk more. Okay, in the following, because due to the time constraint, I will kindly ask my panelists, just give very to the point, very briefly, okay, to the following questions. Murod, Fariz, actually, Fariz, you mentioned about this challenge of the university, also same with Murod, because you work in the university as well. Now, compared to this fast change world, so informal education, private education, they run much faster in terms of adapting the new technologies and so on and so forth. My question, university also face a challenge maintaining high-level teachers, you mentioned, integrating advanced technology and meeting the demands of the changing labor market, which actually Fariz already confessed from the very beginning. So now there's a question, are universities becoming less relevant to the future of work, especially for young people, Generation Z and forward? Yes, you can start. Yes.
Me? Okay. Well, definitely universities are facing a lot of challenges and risks, primarily from short-term courses, informal education, In such areas like IT or cybersecurity, it is much easier to go for a 6-month course or boot camp,
Yes.
and then have a specific certificate, international certificate, and companies will hire you. So you don't need to go through 4-year or 5-year formal education. It's very difficult for us to compete now. And also, I mean, with all these artificial intelligence softwares that are challenging our examination system, writing for us papers and things like that, it's very, very difficult to compete. Well, universities need to adapt. Universities need to adapt. Universities need to be flexible. You cannot anymore run universities or higher education with centralized Ministry of Education, which is very rigid and does not change curriculums and specializations for decades. This is no longer possible. You need to give more autonomy to universities, and universities need to be more closer to the industry. Meet with industry, meet with companies, understand what they need, what their demand is, and try to adapt to their needs. Otherwise, universities will definitely become obsolete.
Absolutely. Thank you. Murod, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, just very quickly. So your question was about whether with the advance of technologies, universities are going to be relevant. My quick answer is...
Not only technology, just a whole kind of future, for example.
Okay, but earlier also talked about AI and all the GPTs and stuff like that. But I think that universities, of course, will be relevant. It's like asking a question, with the advance of technologies or with the changes in the society, will kindergartens be relevant? Of course they will. I mean, every institution has its purpose, every institution has its role. But I believe that universities, they will be always a place for social experiments, in a way, a social laboratory. And that's something that we have to always sustain and make sure it works. And we have so many issues. Like yesterday, we had many panelists here talking on different topics. I think there was only one case when I think Vladimir Imamich talked about climate change when he was speaking. And I think climate change is something that we completely ignore. And we don't have any framework. And according to UNESCO, none of the CAMCA countries actually has even 0.5% in their educational framework a mention of the word sustainability education, something that universities actually can do. You can't really do it on a formal level in kindergartens or in the elementary schools, which you can still try. So I think this is number one. Number two is, again, yesterday we talked about the difficulties of integrating Central Asia and our region. I think universities, especially the CAMCA Academic Consortium, is an interesting example of how we could actually do that, because universities are usually places that hire people who have focus. They have some focus that really they work on, and also they provide some resources. So, I mean, this is just one of the models, and I still believe that universities will be needed, and we just need to find ways to make them teach us what we need to learn. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I especially designed my question in a very provocative way. So I hope like my panelists are okay. I just want to like trigger some more group discussions. Mariyash, different from these two gentlemen, your kind of the learning center is informal education, and very specifically this private, giving the certification and so on. The advantages of your learning center is very in a short time. You know clearly the needs of your clients, and you provide the technical skills. Fariz also mentioned about that. But so-called soft skills we are talking about, yeah? This is the most needed in the future market. Critical thinking, teamwork, communication. I think those kind of skills are very hard to train in a very short term. Or let's say it's very hard to be measured by any kind of certification program. So what is your take about that?
Thank you for bringing this question up. Actually, we have a program for which is called Crew Leadership Development. So basically, quite often, technical guys working on the site, they are left behind from these management and leadership development skills, which are mostly taught to office workers. So we saw this need quite some time ago, and we developed this program. It is already running, and actually it's very successful. Yes, it is not just 1 week or 2 weeks course. It's 2 months course with like continuous improvement, continuous homework exercises, practice. But it is deliverable. Perhaps not to the extent to manage the company, but at least to manage your crew on the project, it is possible.
Thank you so much, Mariyash. Today, I know Murad talked like it should be go beyond this technological educational learning. I know that, but our minister also mentioned about AI literacy and so on. Everybody's talking about AI. So, hello, bear with me, with this patience. I'm gonna continue. I have a very special one more panelist. We're talking about artificial intelligence. So why don't we listen how AI respond to my question? Hello?
Hello. How can I assist you today?
In the future of work, more than 90% of the skills will be digital. So artificial intelligence, automations have been replacing millions of work jobs today. How can we, ourselves and the future human generation, can be ready for future? Can human beings compete with AI?
In the face of an increasingly digitalized job market where AI and automation are impacting employment, it is important to prepare yourself and the next generation for the future of work. To stay competitive, you need to prioritize the development of digital skills and embrace lifelong learning. Human beings can still maintain their competitive edge by focusing on uniquely human qualities, such as creativity, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and adaptability. By continuously upskilling and reskilling yourself, you can thrive alongside AI and contribute to the evolving job market.
Can AI teach those human skills you mentioned?
AI has made significant advancements in various fields. Teaching complex human skills remains a challenge. These skills often involve a deep understanding of human experiences, emotions, and social dynamics, which are difficult for AI to replicate. While AI can support the learning process by providing resources and personalized recommendations, the development of these human skills typically requires human interaction, guidance, and real-world experiences. Therefore, while AI can augment certain aspects of education, the teaching of human skills is still best facilitated by human educators and mentors.
So thank you for leaving this job for human being.
It's not
You're
fair.
welcome. While AI has its capabilities, there are certain aspects of human skills and qualities that make us uniquely valuable. Embracing the collaboration between humans and AI can lead to powerful outcomes and advancements in various fields. If you have any more questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask.
This is a perfect combination of ChatGPT and our AI audio.
You actually gave more time to AI than to the panelists, so that's not fair.
Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, I'm really sorry. Because of the time, I don't think we have a question. We can take the question from the audience. But in closing, in today's panel, so we brought a speaker from our policymaker from Ministry of Education, private sector, our public sector, and artificial intelligence itself to have this dialogue. So my question actually really in a provocative way, but the ultimate goal is not about comparing what's private versus public or what's formal versus informal. So I wonder whether we can marry our advantages and expertise to forge this dynamic public, private, or maybe AI partnership in the future. Yes, so thank you so much. So together, united by this shared vision, guided by this very purposeful policies, fueled with our commitment, and we will have our sparking light that lights up the future of education. So with this positive note, I know there are so many kind of continuation discussion, but we would like to end our transformative education, sharing of innovating for a shared future. Thank you so much, all my panelists. Thank you for the audience. Thank you. Yes, sure.
If I may, I already mentioned about the CAMCA Academic Consortium. This is not part of the talk, but today we are happy to announce that 5 new members are joining our consortium. Our initial goal was very humble. We wanted just a couple of members, but now we have, today, after signing all the memorandums, we will have 10 members, and we're only 4 months old, and hopefully we'll grow further and will help improve the education in CAMCA region. So please join us in 5 minutes outside when we'll be signing the memorandum with the universities. A very special thank you to our partners in Kazakhstan, especially a team of wonderful ladies sitting here, representing the Kazakh British Technical University, and also our friends at ALMA-U, who really helped us to bring two ideas to life. One was the conference that we held 2 days ago, and also the training program that we also held at the KBTU. So thank you so much for all the support, and we look forward to seeing you next year in Bishkek with hopefully more members. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So wait for you as a member. My music, please, Max. And then let's have a group